host for tonight. And after a delicious meal, I know loads of energy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue the momentum and get into the space of the happening, the lucrative drone technology. So let me introduce this gentleman, Mr. Naman Pushp. He is the founder and CEO of Airbound. I would love to mention a few lines about you because you are quite an inspiration to a lot of folks. And he is an young entrepreneur who started working on the designs for drones at high school before launching his company in 2020. Young students, like him should set an example to this generation. He literally walked the talk by doing things differently and proudly announcing $1.7 million seed funding. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to really deserves it.
No, I think 50 minutes. Okay.
I think you should introduce and you should say your journey towards this startup.
Sure. I mean, very grateful to be here. It's lovely to see an audience like this. And yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting journey. I think this, like a lot of students, this whole thing started out as, a project that I was doing in school, trying to figure things out, trying to learn as much as I could. But as things go, I think I realized more and more the potential that this technology had, the scope and the fact that this could grow into a lot of real-world applications, that this could grow beyond a project. And so I'd say it grew very organically, for us. It was just, for the first year of the project, it took a year for us to get, even like $500 in funding. And for me at that time, that was just so much money. Right? It was that was really what got me started on developing out my prototype. Tried to figure things out. First prototype never flew, but you learned a lot in the process. I think the great thing is that the industry has also developed to a point where there is more money coming in for innovation like this. And so really, over the years, we've sort of developed out more and more. It became a more sophisticated project. And really, eventually going into a company, we raised our sort of seed round with Lightspeed, and we're really excited about the future that we can create with this technology. I think the core thing that we want to look at is we want to actually make drone delivery accessible. Right? The problem with drone delivery in India is it comes down to cost, right? India is an industry where delivery is very, very cheap. You look at your Zomato, Swiggy drivers, the cost of delivery there is 10 rupees per kilometer. You look at delivery drones today, it's 90 to 100 rupees per kilometer, right? That model does not work. And so what we're building is an aircraft where on day zero, you have unit economics of 3 to 4 rupees per kilometer. And that's what we can use to really enable a lot of deliveries. And I think, this has the potential to transform the way we live life in India, right? I want to create a world where there are a billion deliveries happening every single day in this country. And that world is only possible through drones.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me introduce myself. I am Satish, CEO of Rosys Virtual Solutions. So I've been into the industry for almost 25 years. Earlier I was there in DGCA. I took VRS and started this startup. And we are scaling up very fast. Now we are working on 160 plus use cases with the drones. And even people know that, okay, drone can do delivery, drone can do some agricultural things, but the complete digitization is going to happen with the help of drones. This is what the opportunities are there, I think you will believe. And you tell me, what are the challenges with respect to the human resources and the talents and skills you faced during your journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very interesting because, question that we get very often is that how do you find talent in India, right? How do you compete with, US and European companies where there is, a lot more aerospace talent or other talent in this space, right? I honestly don't think that's true. I don't think that, India is a country without talent. right? I think India has a lot of incredible latent talent, and there's so many people in this country that are just desperately looking for interesting projects to work on, right? And I think for us, what we've realized is the onus is really on the industry. It's about the industry providing amazing projects to work on, right? I think especially the drone industry needs to grow beyond, just building the same thing as everyone else or trying to play catch up with the rest of the world. I think we have the potential and we have the talent to create tech that is truly pathbreaking in India, where India isn't just making drones that are as good as China, as good as the US, but India is making drones that are better than any other country in the world, right? And that's, in the end, that's what we're looking at with Airbound, right? We're not trying to replicate any foreign company. We're trying to get unit economics, which nobody in the world has been able to achieve. And I found that engineers respond to that. People are really, really excited to work on this vision because it's clear that nobody else in the world is. And the engineers that are desperately passionate, that want to work on really exciting technology, they very quickly want to jump on board Airbound, right? Because that's exactly what they want to work on, right? And I think we basically want this to be the company where the best talent comes. And I think things are moving in the right direction, where the industry is enabling more and more companies like this. And I think in that case, the talent pool will just get better and better.
In 2017, when I was in service, IIT Mumbai has requested for permission to fly drone in their IIT Mumbai campus. And unfortunately, there were no rules. So we said that, okay, you should not fly. At that time, the central government has decided, no, we cannot stop this. We have to do something. Okay, and now you see about the drone industries. I think every state government, central government, everyone is supporting. So still we are behind of many countries because we have started late, but we are picking up the pace. Okay, and another thing, what about the regulatory challenges you faced, or maybe in future, what type of regulatory challenges you will be facing, or any suggestions?
Yeah. Definitely, right? I think a big challenge with regulatory is that people think of regulatory as its own thing, right? Regulatory is not some separate barrier that you have to overcome, but it's worth understanding why do regulations exist, right? Why can I not just take out my drone and fly it out here, right? It's not a question of regulatory, it's a question of safety, right? The moment my drones are safe and the moment I can prove to everyone that my aircraft is safe, I will get permission to fly wherever I want. If I build in all those right safety systems, if I'm able to communicate with air traffic control, if I'm able to ensure that yes, I can put 1 million drones in the sky and these will only do good, these will not harm anyone, then I will get regulatory approval, right? And so in the end, we see this as, it's a safety problem, it's not a regulatory problem. We have to build safe drones. And that comes down to having great engineering. And that's what we're focusing on, because once you have a safe drone, you'll get all the approvals you need.
So absolutely, you are to the point, because so many people says the regulatory is the biggest barrier in developing the technology.
I mean, absolutely untrue. I think that is, especially in India, right? India has enabled so much. Yeah, there have been drone deliveries in Gurgaon, right? In right by the capital city, there isn't a single other country in the world that has enabled something like that. So I think it's amazing how liberal the Indian government has been. They're providing a lot of very valuable opportunities to the industry. And so I think our goal is really we should be taking these and we should be taking full advantage of them so that we can grow as fast as possible, but ensure that yes, we're growing safely, because in the end it's not about growth at all costs, especially not with hardware technology that is so close to people. It's about safe and responsible growth. And I think that's something which the industry has grown to recognize. And I think that's something which everyone cares a lot about.
How many of you heard about SOL, safety of life? So the drones belongs to aviation industry. So just to continue his words, why regulatories are so much stringent in these type of regulations? Because it's SOL, safety of life. Just imagine drone flying on top of you and just suddenly misbalanced and came on you. Okay. But similarly, aircrafts. So much of regulatory, zero defect or zero error. That's why our aircrafts are very safe now. Comparatively, they're very, very safe. You know, there is one saying that the young pilots will never, even they will never come to know about in-flight shutdown. In-flight shutdown is an engine shutdown by malfunctioning, where the pilot experience and he has to take safety precautions to land that aircraft. But in-flight shutdown due to the mechanical error or the instrumental error will never happen. Why? Because the machine learning, the AI took over a lot of things, predictive analysis and all. So, okay, this is apart from the topic. I think at the end of the session, I will really show you why this regulatory safety security is important, because this technology is going to play a very vital role in digital era. Okay, even we can't even think what a drone can do. Okay, at the end of the session, you will see what a drone can do. And coming back to our discussions, so what is the problem or you faced in raising the funds? What are the challenges? And you choose a way called drone delivery. Okay, so how you are going to scale up and what is the market available in future?
Absolutely, right. I think there's a lot of interesting things to unpack here. I'll talk about the funding first. There's sort of a lot of optimism and a lot of challenges around the funding environment, right? I think one amazing thing is that we've had a very easy time with early stage funding. I think when you're looking for those early checks, those checks where investors are believing in this very bold, brilliant vision, right? That's something which you're able to get a lot more these days. There's a lot of funds that have been come out that are supporting deep tech. There's a lot of early stage grants, right? So you want to get a couple of crores. It's actually these days, it's become a lot easier to get that. I think, if Airbound started maybe 2-3 years earlier, we wouldn't have ever been able to get off the ground, right? And a big part of it is because of the way the funding system has evolved, right? I think one challenge that we face though is that it becomes harder to scale up this funding, right? The big problem is that drone technology is something where just, with $1 million or so, you can't have a scaled system. You need a lot more money than that. You look at the big drone delivery players in the world, they still don't have scaled systems. They've gotten over $1 billion of funding, right? So you're dealing with entirely different scales of money, and it's become very challenging for Indian drone delivery startups to really get past a certain number, right? To get past this, maybe $4 to $6 million in funding. And so a big part of it is that you kind of have to show this path to how you are going to become, a great company. You need to find investors that believe in the vision, right? A big challenge of this is you often have to go outside of India to find investors just because that capital is not yet there in India. But I think this is still sort of a valuable environment where you can prove to the rest of India that no, we can build in India, we can build something great. And that's what will eventually build the right capital systems in India, the right late stage investors, so that the next wave of deep tech companies in India are ones where, when they need that 10 million funding round, when they need that 100 million funding round, that becomes something that they can much more easily get.
So you started your journey from your college?
I started from high school.
High school, okay. So here there are a lot of students, there are professors, a lot of guys who are actually willing to start something. So can you throw some light how you actually designed your path till this level?
Yeah, definitely, right. I think honestly, like the best advice that I found, and this is from watching a bunch of videos and all, is that you can just do things, right? Nothing is really stopping you. I feel like there's a lot of people that say, hey, I want to get to this stage, I want to reach this level of maturity before I start a company. And I think that's the thing, right? Starting a company is what lets you build that maturity. Whenever you start a company for the first time, you'll realize you know absolutely nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. Everything I learned on the job. And I think every first-time founder will agree with what I'm saying. And so it's really about just going in and taking that plunge, trying stuff out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, right? That's the beauty of capital markets. You will you need to figure out what works, and that's the only way you can swim, right? So it's a very difficult path. It's very challenging. I don't want to glorify the idea of being a founder, right? It's not some hot, sexy job that gets you a lot of attention, gets you in the media and all, because that's what people see, right? People see all these CEOs and all on the news, but that's not the job, right? The job is the insane amount of work that you put in, the insane amount of dedication, right? It sucks out a lot, but at least I think like every founder will say that the result is well worth it, right? It's one of those things where you are building something and that is really valuable. And so honestly, if you have an idea, if there's something you want to build, I think you should just build it, right? I think that's the best way you will learn anything. You understand so much, right? You'll basically change, you'll become a new person every 6 to 12 months, and that's a brilliant journey.
So why you have chosen only drone delivery? In spite you have a lot of opportunities in drone.
No, absolutely. This is a really fun question, because that's the thing. Our core idea is that we just want to make a better drone, right? We want to improve payload to weight ratios. We want to improve aerodynamic efficiency. This makes a better drone for every single category, right? We can go into mapping. We can have the best mapping drone. We can go into agri, have the best agri drone. So why delivery? Because it's the immense potential that we see in the delivery market. The thing is, drone delivery is very, very hard to crack. Frankly, nobody has figured it out yet. Some companies have come up with niche applications, right? Like Zipline has done an amazing job of doing blood deliveries in Africa, right? You see applications in India for medical deliveries as well. But these end up being very limited in scope because drones are not cost effective today. The thing is, once drones become cost effective, once you're able to actually capture this delivery market, it's bigger than every other market combined. And so for me, it's that if I'm making the best drone, I want to find the largest application for it. I don't just want to take over the delivery market, I want to grow the delivery market. I want to create a world where the delivery experiences you're able to get in a city like Delhi, in a city like Mumbai, in a city like Bangalore, you can get in every corner of India, right? And that's only possible when you have these hyper low cost delivery drones. Right, this is what scales us up to doing 1 billion deliveries every single day. This is what gets us to a future where, if I'm just ordering like a 10 rupee juice box and it's coming all the way here, that entire thing costs me 11 rupees, right? That's not physically possible today, right? And I want to create a future where all of these things are possible.
I think everyone agrees with this views. So now we all have crossed the non-digital to now we are crossing the digital line. Okay, everyone knows about digitization of money, Paytm and all. Okay, see every technology, every industry, every technology when it comes to in place rapidly, it always leaves something behind. Okay? Means some sector will incur some loss. Can anyone say with the digitization, which industry has made immediate losses? Anyone?
Airlines.
No? No. Print economy has started making losses when emails and other things came. Very, very, very short duration. The industry has realized that, oh boss, I'm making huge losses. No. No. It's very funny, eh? Chocolate industry.
Just downstairs, confectionery.
Yes. Because you see the changes. It's a big industry. They made around 30% losses in that single year. Chocolate industry. Some people are still surprised. Because when you go to a grocery shop, you give 10 rupees, you buy 9 rupees some item. So what you will get? You will get 1 rupee? One chocolate. This has actually turned a lot. So likewise, when the drone comes in a delivery spectrum, maybe some industry may get affected. Okay, but the thing is like, the digitization has improved, the digital money has improved many industries, many sectors. Okay. Now you don't need to carry money, you don't need to do anything, just pay. Okay. Even nowadays the beggars are carrying that QR code. Okay. If you say I don't have money, don't worry, I have QR code. It happened. Okay. Happens. Okay. How many of you have experienced? See. Okay. So coming back to our discussions. So what type of technological drawbacks or challenges, like in India we don't really have motors, we don't really have flight controllers. What I mean to say, what type of challenges you faced during building a drone, technical challenges, because we don't really have that much ecosystem where the Chinese have.
Absolutely right, and I think that's where, look, when you're striving for perfection, right? When you're trying to make the best drone possible, right? The only way you can make all of this work is by eventually doing everything yourself, right? And that's, in the end, that's what we're doing, right? We're looking to make our own flight controllers, we're looking to make our own motors, we've already started manufacturing our own propellers. We are the only drone company in the country that is manufacturing their own propellers out of carbon fiber, right? So our focus is that we need to build out these core capabilities. Yes, maybe, you know, if these ecosystems were much better built out, we may be working with vendors on it. But in the end, the way we see it is that we're building out these capabilities in India. And that's what's really important, right? It's because if you want to make the best drone possible, you need the best capabilities possible, right? In the end, I don't think people should be building these things out in India just for the sake of made in India product hai, right? That's absolutely not what we're doing. I'm not doing this so that I can show, okay, all of this made in India narrative and all. In the end, what I want to do is I want to make the best product possible, right? And I'm just building the best product. I happen to be building it out of India, right? And I think that's what we need in the industry. We need, the primary focus should be the best product, not an Indian product, right? The best products are made in India, not just products are made in India. So that's there. It's not an easy journey at all, right? It comes with huge challenges, takes a lot of time, takes a crazy amount of talent to make it happen. But I think the good thing for us is that people believe in our vision, right? Investors do believe in this. Investors have been giving us cash to make this possible, and now we are actually in a position where we can do this. It's not something that's going to be solved tomorrow. It's something that's going to take a while. But that's what we believe. We build everything out ourselves. The core capabilities are there. You have amazing engineers. You get access to raw materials, right? You can make your own PCBs. You do get access to these chipsets, right? These markets are all available. Why not just make these things yourself?
So what is your suggestion for academic institutions or students how to structure their career into this industry? Because as you know, this industry is growing extremely fast, extremely. How many of you heard about, everyone knows, I think, Russia-Ukraine war? Okay, everyone knows. Just see one technology, introducing one simple technology, drone technology. The scenario has changed. Russia has almost captured Ukraine, and the single weapon drone came. It has pushed complete Russian forces back, and they are now able to sustain. So this is the power of a technology when it comes to real play. So just I want to understand, like, what type of skill sets are required to be equipped for this emerging industry, so that as a manufacturer, as a company, you directly, like, simply the software, like you do SAP, you do PIGA, something, and they immediately take into their job roles.
Yeah.
So such kind of skill sets, what type of skill sets you are looking?
Definitely, right? I think the great advantage of drones is that it's such a broad sector, right? If you're trying to build the best drone possible, you care about a lot of skill sets, right? I care deeply about composites engineers. I care deeply about aerospace engineers. I care deeply about mechanical engineers. I care deeply about my embedded systems. I care deeply about my propulsive systems. I care deeply about my electronics. I care deeply about my control software, right? Because if I stop caring about any one of these things, my product doesn't work. I care deeply about my manufacturing. And so in the end, I think the high level shift is that I think a lot more needs to be invested into the hardware side of things, right? I think when you're trying to innovate, when you're trying to build path-breaking stuff, it's about understanding your hardware, understanding your code physics really well. But within that, I think specialize in what you're best at, right? Because there's so much opportunity, right? I'm not look, maybe I'm hiring for manufacturing today. I'm not saying like go ditch your electronics and do manufacturing. I'm also hiring for electronics, right? The industry needs all of these things. The industry needs better flight controls, the industry needs better motors, the industry needs better composite fabrication. It needs everything. And so I think it's more about going deep into what you're building, understanding that well, and really focusing on quality, right? I think the Ukraine-Russia war is an interesting example because the funniest thing there is there's a lot of American-made drones that are trying to be sold to Ukraine, right? A lot of American defense drones specifically built for military applications. They're not being used in Ukraine, right? Because in the end, what Ukraine realized is that what is better and cheaper and more effective than buying a custom-built military drone is just taking a DJI and strapping a bomb to it, right? Because in the end, when it really matters, nobody cares about what industry you're coming from, what your use case is. They just want the best product. Right now, a DJI drone, even though it's not being built for military applications, is the best military drone. This is the most common drone you will see in a war zone. And so that's why my main advice is, I think if you're building stuff out, if you're building products for India, if you're trying to contribute to this industry, try to make the best products possible, right? Because in the end, PLI schemes, incentive schemes can only take you so far. If you have a better product than anyone else in the world, it doesn't matter, you will win, right? And I think that's it. That focus on quality is really, really important.
When you told the pricing, approximately, it's a very good pricing, the drone which he has built. Can we have that video?
Yeah, can we pull up the video? So basically, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like calling it a drone does it a disservice at this point. It's, whenever people hear drone, they picture your quadcopter, your DJI and all, right? Like, to us, this is an aircraft, right? It's a very unique thing. And video speaks for itself.
So this is the drone which designed and built.
Yeah, fully in-house, everything custom. Right? And that's, I get a lot of questions on this video, are these renders? Recently you get is AI generated, and also this is fully real. This is a real drone flying in a real environment. Every part of this video was filmed and shot in Bangalore with an actual aircraft.
That's great. So here, so many people might be interested in seeing what a drone means. Only one or two use cases. Okay, drone is just a a machine, but that machine can be used in multiple sectors. Okay, like the example, delivery. So delivery itself has got a $1 trillion market all over the world. Yeah, more than that. Okay, and just imagine digitization. So I would like to show some of the real videos with the projects, so that people understand. Okay, how the digitization. Like we talk about digitization, we talk about IoTs, we talk about AI, everything. Everything is packed inside the drone sector. Okay, just we want to show some of the things. You can. So from audience, any questions, any? Yeah, he has got some. Requirement is mother of invention. Necessity is the mother of invention. Okay. So when the drones comes in that way, yeah, people are working. People are working in this spectrum, non-hackable. I think you can have a better thing because he is in the delivery spectrum where he launches multiple drones. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely, right. And I think a good point, sort of what are global commands being issued to the drone, right? What is happening within the processor? Because whatever is happening locally in the drone, its own sort of flight computer and all stabilization algorithms, those are on the drone itself. You can't really interfere with that. You can interfere with high-level commands. So at least my perspective from building a delivery drone system, don't really know about other applications, is you need to ensure you have the right fail-safes. You need to ensure that locally, if certain events happen, the drone executes a fail-safe. And when the drone is in a fail-safe mode, it is going to respond safely, right? I know that if something ever goes beyond my control, I just launch a parachute, right? And I know that my drone is going to land safely without harming anyone, right? So it's really about ensuring that all of these core redundancies, these core fail-safe measures and all, are all built locally into the drone so that they cannot just be hacked that easily, right? But in the end, yes, this is something that you have to invest time and resources into. And I think it's something that absolutely can be done, right? Like these days, who worries about their phone being hacked into?
Great. And no, I'm sorry, I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
And I know there's a lot of noise with this one small drone out here, with deliveries being huge. How do you think we can make that noise off the game?
Absolutely. I think you should come for one of our flight tests. You will not be able to hear the drone, right? I think generally what you're looking at is noise. Noise is going to be a function of the weight of your aircraft, the number of propellers, and the design of those propellers, right? And when you're building extremely lightweight delivery drones, this drone is lighter than any other delivery drone in the world. When you're dealing with sort of a very small number of propellers, right? We just have 2 propellers on our system, right? That means you get it's a very low pitch sound. You barely hear it if you're next to the drone. If the drone is flying over you, it's physically impossible to hear it. So that's the idea. It's about getting the propellers right, getting the configuration right, getting the weight right, so that this is not a problem. Because in the end, absolutely not. We should not be living in a world where we have to live with that buzzing sound in our ears all the time. We should be living in a world where unless you are receiving the delivery, you don't even realize there's a drone.
Awesome. Thank you. That's all.
So again, to answer your question, if you really see, when the drone is near to you, you will hear that noise. When it is away, like not much away, like maybe 20 feet, 30 feet, then this noise automatically disappears. And this noise is not created by the mechanical thing. It's an air cut. Okay, so it's a simple air cut. So it has to be.
A lot of deliveries, consider.
Yeah, of course. Small noise will be there.
Naman.
Mm-hmm.
So there is further extension to it, and you did mention about the parachutes for SOL.
Yes.
Because we need to consider SOL as well.
Absolutely.
So there will be many people out here who wouldn't understand where the parachute gets fixed and what is the weight configuration we need to design. Either we want to save the drone or we want to save the complete payload.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you throw some light to the audience, I am aware of it, but I want you to explain to the audience. So how we will, because they will have one point of doubt is, okay, I'm investing money in this. What if it gets crashes?
Absolutely.
And where the SOL, we spoke about SOL, right? Safety of life.
Yes.
So what is the configuration that needs to be built into the drone?
Definitely, right? And I think in this case, what you're basically talking about is fail-safes. And there are a lot of different types of fail-safes, right? I would say there's 3 grades of failure, right? The first grade of failure is when you are unable to perform your delivery, right? This is something that may happen sometimes. Let's say weather conditions are bad, drone needs to go back to base, right? Suddenly, let's say, the government has decided that this airspace is now restricted, maybe military operations are being carried out. These are things outside of your control. The drone just has to go back and do failed delivery. Failed deliveries happen. This is a nuisance to the customer, but this isn't hurting anyone, right? It's just a missed delivery, right? You want to minimize this, but to some extent this will be there. The other side is you are looking at cases where you lose the drone, right? And losing the drone means losing the payload as well. Usually the drone is a lot more valuable than the payload, right? In this case, you really want to minimize these outcomes because these outcomes, they affect your unit economics, right? It's sure, right now I'm quoting 3 to 4 rupees per kilometer, but if my drone crashes after 100 flights, I cannot be charging 3 to 4 rupees per kilometer. So I need to ensure that my drone can always be recovered, right? What this means is that you need to get the stability of the system really right. You need to ensure that, hey, if winds are very high, the drone is able to manage that. The drone is able to safely return to base. You can conduct operations so that even in very harsh conditions, even if the drone has to fail a delivery, the drone itself is not going to crash, right? And the third layer of failure, which is an absolutely unacceptable kind of failure, is when you are hurting someone else, right? If your drone crashes on a person, your drone crashes into a building, you're causing harm to people, your drone crashes in the middle of the road, it can cause a road accident. These failures can never happen, right? The goal of the industry needs to be to bring this all the way down to zero, right? Drones need to be seen as a very safe method of transport, right? I think it's taken a lot for us to get to a point where aircrafts are now seen as a safer method of transport. Now it's safer to be on a plane than in a car, right? We want to create a world where everyone feels safe with millions of drones flying above their head, and that only happens when the entire world has the confidence that no matter what goes on, maybe the deliveries fail, maybe the drone crashes, but the drone is never going to hurt a person, right? That's why we care a lot about these parachute systems. That's why we care a lot about a lightweight drone. Because in the end, if you have, just a fairly lightweight object that is gliding down, that's 2.5 kilos with a parachute falling very slowly, that's not going to hurt anyone, right? And that is really, really important.
So I just wanted to explain the weight configuration because
even if that's falling with a parachute that contains more than 3 times the minimum kinetic energy required for a fatal impact, right? When you're looking at our drone, it is not capable of a fatal impact because it's so lightweight, right? And I mean, the kind of ridiculous analogy I like to give is there's a reason why there's so many regulations around flying a passenger plane, but there's no regulations around flying a paper plane, right? It sounds ridiculous, but hey, they're both planes. The point is, what is the harm I can do with a paper plane? If I throw a paper plane here, it even hits someone in the eye, they're going to be okay, right? Nobody is going to get seriously injured because of a paper plane. Obviously, drones are more dangerous than a paper plane, they're less dangerous than a civil aircraft, but our goal should be to make the drone as safe as possible. And the biggest part is the inherent safety, right? You want to make the drone almost as safe as a paper plane, and it really comes down to good design on how you can do that.
Yeah. So, Naman, final question. You talked about regulations. Typically, criminals are always ahead of the laws, and now we already are in the era of drone jamming guns, which are there in the market. Mm-hmm. So, how do you prevent these kind of things? Because in delivery, it's just not that you're going to send across a packet of chips. You're going to send across a whole lot more stuff. So, how are you going to prevent, or how is technology evolving to prevent drones being used for criminal purposes when on an innocuous civilian task? Mm-hmm. But drones getting hijacked, getting repurposed, and how do you prevent that? Or is that something that's far behind, or what do you think law can do about it?
Absolutely right. I think it's interesting because this question comes up a lot, and this question is oftentimes people use this as an argument for why drones should not be enabled. Right? Why regulation will not happen, drones will never be enabled. I think it's the complete opposite, right? In a world where there are no laws to enable drones, where it's not easy for me to get a drone to fly legally, what's going to happen is there are going to be a lot of people flying illegally, right? There's going to be a lot of RC hobbyists, a lot of companies, a lot of people that just want to do good work, flying their drones illegally because there is no way to fly them legally, right? In the end, what you want to do is you want to make it really easy to do legal operations, so that if there ever is a drone flying illegally, it's something bad that's going on, right? This is how you can separate the criminal activities from the good activities. Right now, most of the drones flying illegally are flying for good purposes, right? So I think it's obviously not easy. It's very hard to create the right laws so that you ensure drones are safe, they're not being used for bad purposes.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. So, extending your question's answer. So if you see really all the technologies, the lethal technologies or the advanced technologies, always comes from a defense perspective. Okay, let us take a plane, ships, guns. Okay, how many of you know AK-47? Everyone knows. Okay, what is the speciality of AK-47?
Use and throw almost. Very, very rugged one.
Yeah, it never failed. The simple answer is it never failed. So AK-47 was built to protect Soviet Union. Okay, to protect themselves. What happened? Like it went to a wrong hands. So any technology, let it be anything, drones or your ships, your aircrafts, your missiles, anything. In good hands, they help you. In a bad hands, like we have agricultural drones, 10 liters, 15 liters. Okay, you can use it for agriculture to grow the crop, and you can just remove the tank and put some box and transport ganja or whatever drugs and all. So simple. Okay, it's very simple. Okay, so likewise, what purpose you are using and who is using is bad. And considering the rules and regulations, since I am from the same background, I tell you there are a lot of efforts have been put by the ministries to avoid these kind of things, but we cannot stop the technology. Somebody says that cybersecurity is a very big thing, so we cannot.
Sorry, I'll just clarify that. In the interest of time, I thought I'll stop here, but okay, I'll clarify. My focus was not just on laws. Law I understand follows, but what I'm talking about is how do you ensure that technology is going to make sure that drones don't get kidnapped and repurposed.
Yeah.
So have we reached in the era of anti-drone guns? How do we ensure a drone sent for a good purpose doesn't get hijacked and repurposed?
A lot of technologies are being built. So, okay, in the interest of time, I want to just showcase one of the technology which we are discussing now. How AI and the drones can be so lethal and so helpful. Okay, can you please play that video? Digital model. Sound. Maybe some of you might have seen this video. Okay, it's a perfect example of a technology and can be very lethal. Volume.
Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. And trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped. Now, I said this was big. Why? Because we are thinking big. Watch. $25 million order now buys this. Enough to kill half a city. The bad half. Nuclear is obsolete. Take out your entire enemy virtually risk-free. Just characterize him, release the swarm, and rest easy.
This short film is more than just speculation. It shows the results of integrating and miniaturizing technologies that we already have. I'm Stuart Russell, a professor of computer science at Berkeley. I've worked in AI for more than 35 years. Its potential to benefit humanity is enormous, even in defense. Allowing machines to choose to kill humans will be devastating to our security and freedom. Thousands of my fellow researchers agree. We have an opportunity to prevent the future you just saw, but the window to act is closing fast.
So, the technology when integrated with the AI. Okay, so the technology is available, not on a human kind, just like a nuclear kind of thing, but still. Okay, so let us, I think time is up, we will conclude it. So thanks Naman for this wonderful speech and talk, your guidance to the youngsters and all. You are actually inspiration because you started your career just to build the emerging technologies world, and you have raised almost 1.7 million. That's a very great thing. This is what the focus is actually. Somebody has to be so focused, and I asked one question to him, why you have chosen only delivery? So he's too much focused in one application. Okay, and you might be heard that Bruce Lee always said, I don't worry about a person who practices 1,000 kicks, okay, varieties of kicks, but I am very much worried about the guy who practices one kick, because he will be the master on it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and more than anything else, that burning desire you have in you to prove to the world is highly commendable. Way to go. And ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a thunderous round of applause. We would have ever imagined in the wildest dreams that, one day a tiny machine with tiny legs could be the future of both flying and walking to your doorstep to serve you your favorite snacks. That's the power of innovation, technology, and imagination. On that note, what's the learning today? Smile, sleep better, to dream weird things. Thank you so much, Naman and Mr. Satish. We can't thank you enough for literally taking us ahead of time and foresee a future with drones being used in every other sector, you name it, and here they are. Quickly, can I call Mr. Sudhakar Kambala from Evolitus?